I just called the Chevy dealer. 5% oil life remaining. That's called the OLM, Oil Life Monitor. It's a program that says when to change the oil. It said 5% remaining. So I called them not knowing what that meant. I'd heard a rumor. First of all, I heard that they've become smart, these OLMs, in some year. I said I've heard they've become smart in some year. No, I called them and they bounced me around for a while. Then they said, please send a text message to the helper and they'll answer your questions. Then they dragged that out for about 1.5 hours. They said, I'll be right with you in a second. My name is so-and-so. It was a pre-recorded computer program message. I said, cool, see you then. And they dragged it out for an hour and a half. I did other things. I had no idea when they were going to call back. And they finally did. And I said, wow, I had asked them 3 questions. One is, did the OLM get smart? Because it's some year that became smart. I said, 2, does that smartness, if it has, does it monitor idling, not just mileage? Because that makes a big difference for a scam dash driver. We idle at drive-thrus all the time. 3, I said, I've heard that the mileage at some point after the release of this car has been reduced from 5,000 miles or 6,000 miles to 3,000 miles with these new complicated interference, smart idiot engines. I didn't say all that, but I said, I've heard it become reduced to 3,000 miles. I said, do you know if it's 6,000 or 3,000 miles or 5,000? And if it has been reduced, is the computer program updated, or should I actually change the oil at 50% or whatever? So those are my 3 questions. I worded them shortly. I put it all into one organized paragraph, part 1, part 2, part 3. It was all one paragraph, which is like different lines for each sub-question in that same topic. And they finally answered me and said, hi, I'm Gertrude, I'm this, I'm that. I'm like, I'll go see if I can look up the answer to your question on the manual. I'll be right back. And then like 10 minutes later, they came back and they said, the oil should be changed at 3,000 miles. And then something else they said that was total nonsense. And I'm like, well, I told them, thank you for answering one of the 3 questions, but like I said, I did tell them this. I said, like I said, I don't think the manual would have it. I thought maybe only a tech expert would have it. And they go, we don't have any tech experts here, by the way. If you need to answer the question further, you should consult a dealer. And that, in the end, by the time they answered that last question, took about 1 hour and 50-something minutes. Basically 2 hours. Yeah. Chevy! But here's the point of the video. This video wasn't just to insult Chevy, which I have done many times. I've decided the dealer won't answer the question because they never do. So I assume I left my house. When I left my house, it was also 5% at 675. And I said, what is 5% of 3,000? If the computer's at 3,000, which is what I will find out. I will find out, without the dealer or the factory's interference, if it monitors just mileage or idling, and if the OLM has become smart, and if it's 3,000 miles on the computer. I will figure all that out with deductive reasoning. I said I put it at 675 because it was like that when I left where I live. 5% of 3,000 is, well, 10. Let's say 1% of 1,000 is 10. 5% of 1,000 is 50. 5% of 3,000 is 150. So 150 miles at 725. Let's make sure I had that number right. All right. 675 plus 150 is 825. At 159, 825 will be 150 miles. I will drive it around. I will scam dash tonight. I will be idling many times. And if the computer goes down to 0% at 159, 825, that means this thing is only looking at miles. It means it has not become smart. It probably has become smart. But considering it's Chevy, maybe it hasn't. If it becomes 0 long before it hits that number, that means it's monitoring idling in hills and stuff, and it has become smart. If it hits that number, or that before it comes to that number, in any event with not too much idling, it means its 3,000 miles has been updated to the computer. And if it's that at exactly 150 miles, it means it's still not smart. It's just set at 3,000 miles. But if it's before that, then it's been set to 3,000 miles and it has become smart. Deductive reasoning, because, the factory just took 2 hours to tell me they don't know, and the dealer's just going to blow me off and say, well, you can make an appointment and pay $100 an hour for us to diagnose it after you leave your car here for 2 weeks. Probably something dumb like that. So, deductive reasoning. That'll be the title, how to tell how your OLM works. I'm going to make this 5 minutes. I like the number 5 and 0.